to Productivity Essentials on Mac. Today we're going to be looking at some tips and tricks that are going to help you get things done better than ever. We're going to show you how some of the features built into your Mac will help you to work faster, more efficiently, and increase your productivity. So let's get started. We're going to start off with Finder today because most things you do on your Mac are probably going to include working with files. So let's see how you can be more productive with this. So we're going to go into Finder in the bottom left of our screen, give it a click, and we know this is our file finding and management system. And therefore you can access many areas of your computer, anything from recent files you've been working on that the Mac will continually update, all the way through to downloads, movies, music, and even things in your iCloud Drive. Now, for starters, if you're looking at your sidebar and thinking that it might look a little bit different, the great thing about Finder, just like any application on your Mac, is that you can customize it via the preferences of that application. And how do we do this? Well, we're going to go up into the top left in the applications side of the menu bar. And whenever you click on an application here, it can be just about anything, you find that you have preferences for that particular application. So let's see Finder preferences. And one of the options is sidebar. And if you look here, you can actually turn on or off all the different sections that you need access to. So if you're finding that you regularly need access to your music, movies, pictures, or whatever it might be, you can just tick these on or off depending on what you want. So that's how easy it is to make Finder a bit more customizable to find the sections that you need. So let's push the red X, get out of there, and let's go back into our Finder window. Now, when working with files of any kind, you might find that you need to move something to a particular location. So let's say there's something that you've downloaded from the web and you need to put it into your iCloud Drive or vice versa. Documents can move in any direction. So the great thing about this is that you have the ability to work with tabs in Finder. So it makes it very easy to see where you are and drag and drop content from section to section. How do we do this? We're going to go Command and T for tab. And just like that, I've opened up another tab, right? And you can see I've even got a plus sign in the top right. I can open up as many tabs as I would need and just keep going. But what's awesome here is if I have downloaded something and I realize that I need it, let's say in my iCloud Drive, well, I'm able to drag it, hold it over the tab right here at the top left. It flashes for a second, and as soon as I let go, I'll be able to drop this in another section of my Finder. How great is that? So I'm just going to put it back in downloads because I don't want to move it right now, but that's how easy it would be to do something like that. So you could take any particular file, just drag and drop it to wherever you need and place it in the section that you need to find it in later. Wonderful. So that's working with tabs. Now this leads us to a stage where we might say, okay, so now I've got dozens and dozens of files I'm trying to organize and move to a particular location. And sometimes you get to a point where maybe things aren't labeled correctly, or you just want to make sure that you're working on the right file before just starting any activity with it. And so what we love about Finder is there's something called Quick Look. That means that if you select something and you need to see it in more detail, all you have to do is tap the spacebar. And just like that, it will give you a quick look at that document. So you can quickly browse it and see if it is the right version of what you're looking for. Ah, how brilliant is that? And so now, if it was the wrong document, let's say, and I needed a different PDF or photo, or whatever it might be, I could just tap spacebar and I'm right back in Finder. How awesome. Same applies for just about anything. If I am looking for a particular photograph and I'm not sure if it's got the content that I need, tap spacebar, it shows me a quick look. I can see a bigger version of that file. Once again, tap spacebar and I'm back in, and it works everywhere. We've seen it on PDF now. Of course, we've seen it for photographs. This is even going to work for movies, which is really wonderful. And what happens the minute you tap spacebar, it actually pops up and starts the option to play the movie right here. So I can now immediately start to see playback of this file without having to go into some kind of a media player, which is really, really great. Tap spacebar one more time, and I'm back to my Finder. And keep in mind, this is going to work for just about anything in Finder. So we've looked at PDF, photo, and movie. Believe it or not, even things like Microsoft Office documents, you can tap on spacebar and it will show you a bit of detail in that particular document, let's say like an Excel spreadsheet, which is pretty great. Spacebar, we're right back. So now let's take a step upwards in what you can do with Quick Look, because I'm not sure if you noticed, but every single time I went into the Quick Look view with spacebar, I had a couple of options here. First, I had something called Open with Preview, which we're going to explore in just a few moments, but also I had this little pen in the circle, and that is my markup toolbar, meaning without having to open the file or go into any particular editing type of program, I can give it a click, and I can start to make annotation on this file. I can start to make changes on this, which is really great. So let's say I wanted to work on a copy of this PDF with my team, but I wanted one with a different color teapot over here. So what I'm able to do is then sketch with my sketch tool, and I can draw a circle around this to send this through to my team. And watch this. Your Mac recognizes that you're trying to draw a circle and it auto completes that shape for you. How great. So now I can actually send them something and go, hey, everybody, listen, I'm not sure if this is the color that we should be working with. Let me know if you've got another copy for me. What I can do now is immediately send this out with my annotation. So I can tap my share button and then just immediately drop an email to everybody who needs a copy of this. I can then say done and it saves it with my sketches, or revert and it takes everything back to its original format. If I click on done, I'm still in Quick Look. I wasn't actually in any particular application, so one tap of the spacebar, I'm right back into my Finder. But what happens when we get to a situation where we now have so many files, like we mentioned a bit earlier, and you're now trying to find them a little bit faster? Well, this is where Finder once again gets its name and makes things really great for us, which is we can put a tag of color on something, right? So we can color tag any particular file so that we can find it nice and quickly. So in this particular example, let's say I'm looking for this PDF later on. I don't want to struggle to find it because I don't remember exactly what section I might have saved it in. No problem. I have the option to either right click, or I can go up into this little guy, my task selector, right? So this again is going to allow me to perform tasks, as you can see by the little drop down that's popped up there. And if I give it a click, I can now make a folder to organize things in folders if I prefer that. I can do all the basics I would need to get information and rename and copy, so I can paste it. I can sort this whole section by different categories, name, kind, date, etc. But tags. What's wonderful here is I can put a color tag on it, and I can designate a certain color to a task that I'm trying to achieve. So red can be my collaboration files, and yellow can be my personal files, green can be training files, anything that I could want. So as soon as I put a color on this guy, I see I've got a nice little red dot, and it's even updating across my iCloud, so that even if I pick this up on iPad and iPhone, it will show me the changes with this new little color tag. Now later on, when I pop into Finder the next day and I'm looking for that file, I'm going, oh my goodness, where is this? What do I do? Nice and easy. I've got my tags on the bottom here. Give it a click. And there's this new red file that I added next to this other PDF that I need to fill in a little bit later. So it makes it very, very easy to find. And by the way, even better than this is the fact that if you look at the tags, the red dot says red and the orange dot says orange. So we can see that the color is the word. But what if the red, remember, represents something specific for you, like collaboration or whatever it might be? You can go to the name of the color and right click on it, and you can rename it so that the color represents a certain category for you. Really, really awesome stuff. So now we've got a lot more detail and a lot more ways of finding our files and getting around Finder and making sure that our file management is easy all the time. So then let's explore one or two other things when we're still in Finder, just in terms of working with your document. So if I once again click on that particular document, right? If I tap on spacebar, we know it's Quick Look, and I can see that this is a PDF that I need to fill in and sign and put all my details into. Okay, no problem. But then we spoke a little bit earlier about Preview. And Preview is a built-in application from Mac that allows you to open up a whole variety of documents, including PDFs. You don't need anything extra for this on your Mac. So let's go open with Preview. And look at this. It's going to automatically take that file and open it up for me in a nice big view that I can work with. What's great about this particular document is that it's annotate friendly. So it already knows that it's got certain categories that I might need to fill in, right? So this is actually really, really brilliant. So I can then, for example, go to a line that needs some content, and look at that. It's giving me a bit of a highlight, recognizing that it actually needs to fill something in there. So I can just click and immediately start typing. How great is this? So this is really, really fantastic stuff, right? A lot of these documents are just going to be like this by default in Preview. But if your document is not doing this, not a problem at all. Remember, go up to the top right of Preview one more time, and you've got your little markup toolbar. And if you give it a click, it's got all the options here. So if you have a document that needs some text and you don't have this automatic annotation happening, what can you do? Go over and you can add a text box. Give it a click, drops in a text box for me, right? I can now bring that over, drag it to wherever I need to be, and I can put it right there. Now, here's the great thing, right? If it's maybe not looking the way I want it to look, or the size or the color, or whatever it is, double click, right? I can now start to type my information in there, whatever it might be. But then I could do something else really great. once I've got all this text selected, I can go up into this format area and I can say what color does it need to be, what font, what size. So I can really customize this to in any way that I need it to be. I can just drag that over and pop that there in line. You see, you can even grab a box of text and put it wherever you need it to be, just like that. So filling in a form is really, really straightforward. You can just add text boxes and put them wherever you need it to be. The other thing that's really brilliant is what happens when we get to this stage where we need to start doing things like ticking boxes. Okay, well, again, nice and simple here. If it's annotate friendly, it's automatically going to pop up with a little marker and I can just tick the box. That is so cool. And then if it's not annotate friendly, remember, you can go and add shapes, right? You can even sketch a tick over that box, up to you. But then we get the signature part. This is where we think, okay, we've maybe run into a problem. Not at all. If you look up in your markup toolbar, we've got this little guy that says sign, meaning if I click this downward arrow, you can see I did a test as an example over here. And how did I do that? Well, I said create signature. It gives you a couple of options. First off is trackpad, meaning you can click exactly where it says click here to begin and start signing your name on the trackpad, right? So again, I'm just going to do my initials there. There we go. Fantastic. Now, notice it says press any key when finished. A lot of people will try and move their finger to click on clear or done or something, but then it's going to keep on drawing. So just make sure you click on anything, right? And then you have the option to clear, cancel, or done, right? So I'm just going to cancel because it's very similar to what I had done before. However, before we do that, I just want to point out something else to you. Camera. Can you imagine how great this is going to be if you want pen and paper accuracy? All you're going to do is sign your name on a pen and paper, hold it up to the camera. As you click it, it's going to switch on and it will see the shapes written on that piece of paper and it's going to just grab that information and save your signature right there in the system for later use. And if you have an iPad or iPhone connected to your account, you will see a third option here that says iPad or iPhone. Give it a click, a blank screen pops up on your iOS or iPad OS device, and just like that, you start to do a little bit of a sketch with your finger on the screen of your iPad or iPhone, and it saves the signature right there for you. Really, really brilliant. Let's go cancel for now. So let's say you now have inserted your signature via the trackpad, via the camera by holding up a piece of paper, or via your extra Apple device. Give it a click. You can, of course, drag and make it bigger or smaller. Take that little hand, move it wherever you need to, and sign the document. That simple. So working with documents in preview, even things like PDF, is really amazing. You can fill in entire documents here, and you don't need any extra software to make this happen. And, of course, once we're done, we've got that immediate share option where, again, I can mail, I can message this to someone. So many ways to work with this. So there we go. Let's go preview, quit, and there we are. We're done. So now that we've seen a little bit of Finder and we've worked with some wonderful things like Quick Look and Preview and so much more, let's just give that a close one more time. And let's talk about something else that is going to be very beneficial to you on a day-to-day basis in terms of just getting things done quickly. And that, of course, is Spotlight. Now, what is Spotlight? Well, it is your ultimate all-in-one search tool for your Mac. It's this little magnifying glass in the top right. Yes, we can leave whatever section we're at and go up all the way to the top right and give it a click. But we're all about productivity and being more efficient today. So let's try this. Command and then tap spacebar. Just like that, Spotlight Search. Now, what's wonderful with Spotlight Search is that it starts to give you results based on anything that you type. It can be a word, a letter, a number, and it not only gives you these instant results, but it shows you the category that it could belong in. So if I say, oh, where was that form from? I see, look what it does. It starts to give me the exact categories. Are you looking for a PDF? Or hold on, look at this. It even says, what about an email? Now, the email subject was called PDF to sign, but it sees that the attachment had the name that I typed in. So how brilliant is this? Not only will Spotlight give you search results based on name, but even if there's something with that name inside of a category, it can search through there and it can show you, oh, hold on, this is one of the results you're looking for as well. So it will show me category by category what I might be looking for, and it will do this throughout your system. Something else that's really brilliant is what happens if I need to look something up. Spotlight is a dictionary, so I can just type something in, and just like that, oh, look at that. I've got myself a dictionary built in. So this is pretty outstanding. I don't need to open up a dictionary app or go to Google or search for the meaning of something. Just type it into Spotlight, and there it is. On top of this as well, Spotlight, therefore, is not only just a dictionary on top of a search tool, but it's also a calculator. So how great is this? So you can just type in any series of basic equations and it'll do it for you. The other thing that Spotlight is really wonderful for, as if having a calculator and a dictionary and a search tool with categories and previews is not enough, as if we needed more, Spotlight says, what about conversions? So I can say something like this. They can go, oh, hold on, you mean you wanted to know the answer to that? So it can actually work something out for me in terms of unit measurement, but even more than that, it can go online and get you search results for things that you normally have to Google. So if you have family that lives overseas and you want to work out a certain foreign currency, you can go, oh, wait, how much is that? And just like this, it's going to work out a currency conversion for you and even show you a couple of other options as well. So Spotlight is super powerful. It's an all-in-one system that will help you get things done very quickly and provide you with so many options to get these things done, right? So let's just delete that. And then again, remember, Command and tap space. Now I keep highlighting that you should just tap space because one of the shortcuts that you can activate in your Mac is you push Command, but then you also hold space. And it can activate Siri, our personal assistant. And Siri is, of course, built into the Mac as well. If you look here in the top right, I've got a little Siri shortcut button that allows me to give it a click, and Siri's going to start helping me out there. Siri is tremendous, right? And Siri can do so many brilliant things. So if you ever actually want to know what Siri can do, it's always great. You can just give Siri a bit of a click and actually say, what can you do? And then Siri will show you a whole list of all the things. But really, Siri on the Mac is wonderful, whether it's things like adding events to the calendar, setting reminders, even searching the web for images of something, and then using those images directly in a document. What do I mean? Well, have a look at this. We can go into Siri and we've got the little question mark. And the question mark, as we said, can show us many, many things. So it can even work with Finder that we looked at before. How awesome is this? Show me something like my downloads folder. It can launch certain applications if you need it to, right? On top of this, it can even dictate entire messages and emails and take care of it all for you with just your voice. So very efficient, very quick and easy, and definitely something that's going to help you be a lot more productive on your system. Now, speaking of dictating entire messages or maybe emails, let's look at email a little bit. Let's try this out. So I'm going to open up email. And from here, I can start to talk about how easy it is to do things in my email. Now, working in email, again, it seems like quite a straightforward thing, but just to show you some of the possibilities that are available to you from a productivity and an efficiency standpoint. So we all know if I go and tap on this little pen and pad, it's going to start up a new message. And then from there, I can, message my team, and I can just say to them something like, please sign the PDF. So I need to attach a PDF and I'm going, oh goodness, okay, yes, obviously we've got it right over here, but then I've got to go through a whole bunch of files and I've got to find stuff, and it's not a problem. Remember, we spoke about Finder. And this is where things get really brilliant. I know that I made my collaboration files red. So I go to red. There's that PDF that I need everybody to sign. Literally, it's a drag and drop straight out of there. And just like that, it's attached to the PDF. Now, I'm about to send it off to them and I want to send them my signed copy as well. But as I do this, I go, uh-oh, I didn't sign it. So yes, we were looking at quick look and preview, but that was if I was in Finder and I was already working with the document. What happens if I've already dropped it in my mail and then I realize, oh, I've got to start all over again and then attach a new one? Not at all. Look at this. If you hover your mouse over the attachment, you actually get a little drop down arrow. And that, if I give it a click, allows me to do a markup. So now with markup, look at that. It essentially now brings me back into the same view that we had. I'm kind of in a combination of preview and quick look over here. And I can start to once again sketch, add my signature, add a text box. I can fill in this PDF or sign any document or picture or any attachment for that matter right here within email. Make all the changes that I want and then say done. And it will save those changes directly into the attachment right here in email. Pretty awesome, right? So it's just a quick way to get to the things that you need and take some action on it right here within the email application. Really, really awesome. I'm just going to give that a little click. So now that we've seen how easy it is to work with documents in your email and send attachments that you can even mark up directly in the interface, what happens when you start to go through your email on a day-to-day basis? And as we know, email is a very popular communication tool, so we probably all get dozens of emails a day. The problem is, what happens when we need to find certain ones quickly? Something really brilliant that you could do here is make a smart mailbox. So look how easy this is. Easiest thing that's going to help you set this all up is to go up into Mailbox in the top here in the menu bar. and click on New Smart Mailbox. And now it's this simple. You give it a name. So I can, for example, name it iStore. And then just like that, I can say it must match the following conditions. So you can set a couple of conditions, you can match multiple, or any of a following bunch of conditions. But in this case, I just need one condition. Every time an email comes from, and it contains the following email address, right? Anything with iStore in it, automatically it's going to be filtered into a brand new smart folder. And look at this, I can say it can come from a certain email address. The subject must always have a certain subject. So if you get a lot of emails about your banking from FNB or ABSA, you can say the subject must contain ABSA. And then every time you get a mail from ABSA, it's going to go into a filtered mailbox. I can say from, it must contain the words iStore. Okay. And then it makes me a little smart mailbox over here. And anything with the word iStore in it is going to pop up here. How awesome is this? So it's a great way to make sure that you actually get quick access to the emails you need. It doesn't create a duplicate. It almost applies a filter so that instead of having to go through the entire inbox, you can just go into a smart mailbox and say, okay, I'm looking for specific emails. So once again, what we're going to do, mail and quit. Now, working efficiently and productively on our Mac systems means that we've got to be really, really good at multitasking as well. So let's see what happens when you've got quite a few apps open, as most of us normally do, and how do we manage all these apps in the various windows all around our screen. So if we are, let's say, doing a bit of research on Safari, and if we've got our maps open, you're looking for a certain address, and let's say we've even got our calendar open, marking up some appointments. On top of that, you might even have your music open as well, right? Just to listen to a little bit of tunes in the background. All good. The problem is now the screen is very busy and everything's open at the same time and it's looking a little bit chaotic. So what do? Well, we've got a lovely feature called Mission Control. And what Mission Control allows you to do is essentially launch all your apps into space, like the word Mission Control would suggest, where you can float above them and see them all at the same time. How do we do this? The standard gesture for this on your trackpad is going to be take 3 fingers and gently swipe upwards with 3 fingertips on the trackpad. And look at this, it shows me all the various apps that I have running in the background. So I can go into my calendar and I can start to flick through a couple of dates. Swipe up with 3 fingers and I can go back into Safari and do a little bit of research on maybe a hotel that I need to find, right? Maybe I'm looking for some prices on a particular hotel. I can swipe back up with 3 fingers and I go back into Maps. So this is already pretty great. It helps me very quickly and easily see all the apps that I've got open and switch to the one that I want. But this is only part 1 of 3. So let's go to part 2, and then we'll jump into part 3 in just a second. So swipe up is part 1, right? It takes us to this view where we can see all the apps running at the same time. If you see, I move my mouse up to the very top here, it shows me this is all on my desktop at the moment. So what if I could do something that would help me split up my apps into separate desktops so that I could quickly switch between 1 or 2, just sliding between a couple of different ones to be able to reference one and then go back into the other. Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. You can click and hold any application that you want to separate into its own space, drag it up to the right of desktop and hold it there for a moment and watch what happens. I'm going to click and hold it, drag it up next to desktop, and I get the plus. Let go, and there's Maps. Same thing with calendar. Click and hold it, drag it up to the side, I get the plus, let go. I've now created a separate space for Maps and Calendar in their own full screen desktop. So if I click back on desktop, it's got the original apps that I was working with. But if I now take 3 fingers and slide them sideways, I can switch to the next app in its own desktop. Slide sideways again with 3 fingers on my trackpad. Switch to the next desktop. I can now get a bit of work done on my calendar. Swipe the other side with 3 fingers and once again with 3, and I'm back on my desktop doing the original work I was doing. So this is tremendously great, right? Just the ability to instantly switch with a simple 3-finger swipe, and I can get to an entirely new desktop and work on another task. So swipe up with 3 fingers, back to our first level. And now, what happens if I want to take this to the next level, which is going to be part 3 of Mission Control and multitasking, and that is creating a split screen, having 2 apps on the screen at the same time instead of having to do a quick swipe between them. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my mouse all the way to the top where I can see my desktop and the 2 full screen windows, those applications, Maps and Calendar in full screen. And I'm going to move my mouse and just hold it there for a second. And look what happens. I get a set of arrows at the top left here telling me, do I want to squeeze this back into the desktop? So let's put it back in the desktop. Calendar will do the same if I just leave it there. Back to the desktop. Okay, we're back to the original apps all on the desktop together. Watch this now. To make a split screen so that you can work on them at the exact same time could not be more simple. Go up to the top left corner where we have the buttons that control our window. The red X to close, the yellow minus to minimize, and of course the green arrows out to maximize. It's going to get rid of the menu bar. It will get rid of the dock at the bottom so that we've got one nice big full screen app, and it will move it to the side and give it its own desktop space, just like we saw. But watch this. All I do is leave my mouse on the button for a moment. I just let it hover, and I get the option for enter full screen, which is what we had a moment ago with calendar and maps, or tile to the left or right, and you can choose which side of the split screen you want to start with. I'm going to start with tile it on the left. It then says to me, pick another app. Well, I want to be able to compare prices and the location at the same time, and so now I click Maps. And just like that, I've got them side by side working together. If one of them needs more space, you can go to the gray divider in the middle and drag to either side to make sure that either one has the amount of space that you need. That simple. And imagine the possibilities here. If you're doing some research on images that you need here for a document, and you've got the document here, you would be able to select some content from here, and then just like that, drag it over to the other side. How great would this be? Absolutely brilliant. So I'm able to just instantly share content from side to side by making a split screen. And all I did was leave my mouse on the green button, and I said tile to the left or the right. I'm going to now move my mouse up to the very top, put it back there, and again, it's going to now shrink it back in. We recognize those arrows pinching in, right? So we're back in the desktop. Maps has now been left in its own desktop space because it was already sharing a lot of space. So swipe sideways with 3 fingers, move up to the top, and just like that, exit full screen. So now that we've seen the possibilities of multitasking and how we can work with multiple desktops and even split screen, let's talk about working within an app and being even more efficient within each application with shortcuts. So in any app, the shortcuts are really easy to find. Think of all the standard shortcuts that you would need to use on a day-to-day basis. Cut, copy, paste. Well, believe it or not, all you have to do is go up into the menu in the top left of that particular application. And when you click on any of the menu items, it will show you what you're looking to achieve, right? Cut, copy, paste. But from there, it will show you the shortcut. So we know this, right? Cut is going to be Command X, copy, Command C, paste, Command B. And so that means if I then go and highlight any particular thing, I know that I can go edit, copy, but hold on, Command C. So as we mentioned earlier on, it was Command T to make a tab, Command Space for Spotlight. So we start realizing that it's just going to be Command something, but you never have to wonder what that something is because it's always going to show you right here in the menu, which is pretty awesome. By the way, if you're not sure how to find these and you need a bit of help finding a specific shortcut, every single application always has help. And if you click on the help option, you can search for what you need. Your Mac says, I have something in my menu that might be what you are looking for. And if you put your mouse on it, it drops the big blue arrow and says, here it is. This is what you've been looking for. So it's actually really, really brilliant that the Mac is going to point you in the right direction every single time. So now that we know how to get the shortcuts that we're looking for, what about some of those gestures that we've been talking about so far? So a little bit earlier, I was talking about mission control and swiping up and swiping sideways. Well, that's just the start of it. There are so many more gestures when it comes to multi-touch so that you can do things very efficiently on your Mac. By the way, some of the gestures, of course, are going to be on your Magic Trackpad that's built into your laptop or built into the Magic Trackpad that you can buy externally. But what about the Magic Mouse that comes with the iMac? Well, there's gestures that you can do with that as well. So let's look at how to get there and how to learn these gestures. All you do is go to System Preferences. So of course, this being the settings of your Mac, you've got a whole range of settings here, but what we want to focus on right now is trackpad and mouse settings. And if you want to learn how to do the gestures, click on, let's say, trackpad on my laptop that I'm on, and I can go to a particular section, and all I have to do is watch the video. So your Mac is going to give you a little mini video tutorial to let you know how to do things. For example, click anywhere on the Magic Trackpad surface, and you've done a click. How do we then do a right click? Just click with 2 fingers. Literally as simple as that. Now, a lot of us are so used to left and right click, and your customers might be as well, so no problem at all. Just click with 2 fingers. Now, a lot of us are used to left click and right click, and that's not a problem at all. All we got to do is click on this drop-down menu that appears with many of the gesture options, and I can say bottom right corner, and now that's a right click. So you can set this up in any way that you want, and the gestures just keep on going. We all know about making things bigger and smaller on our phones. Well, the gesture is the same on your Mac. Pinch in and pinch out. The gestures just keep going. We looked at mission control, and it just goes on and on when you start exploring all these options on the screen at the moment. For example, Launchpad. What is Launchpad? You go down into this little rocket at the bottom over here. And if you've got an iPad or iPhone, you know how you get the apps in rows. Well, by clicking on Launchpad, you can see all the applications with one quick glance. And I can now say, oh, yes, I needed my music or my contacts or my calendar. Just give it a click and it pops up, just like essentially you would be able to do on your iPad or iPhone. Being something like the menu of an iPad or iPhone, I'm able to take applications and move them around and sort them in every way that I want. And on top of that, I can also hold one on top of the other and make a folder. If I need something in my dock, because the dock is where I keep all the quick access shortcuts for all the applications that I use most frequently, I can just take any one of these, drag it into the dock, and the others will actually jump to the side and make some space. So you can put these things wherever you want them, just like that. And click anywhere outside of the apps, you're back in. But if you look carefully, there's a gesture here, meaning if I need quick access to my applications, thumb, 3 fingers, pinch in, and just like that, I've got Launchpad. How awesome is this? So that's a little bit of the world of gestures and shortcuts and just some of the many things that you can do on the system. One of the final things then that we just want to highlight to you is the ability to work with screenshots. And screenshots to the Mac are actually quite an advanced but really simple thing to do. So let's look at how this works. There is one all-encapsulating shortcut menu that you can access. It gives you lots of different options, in fact. So let's look at this. If I go Command, Shift, and I click 5, it drops up a little shortcut menu at the bottom here, meaning I can capture the entire screen from corner to corner. I can capture just a selected window, which means just the application without having to worry about the dock, without having to worry about the menu bar. You can see it actually selects a certain section without worrying about all the other areas corner to corner. I can then also say, what about a portion? And then I can go and highlight a particular portion and then only capture that section for my screenshot. But even more incredible than that, I also have the ability to capture screen recordings. You can also record your screen with all the motion and voice, and just like that, you say capture or record for a screen recording, and it's going to save that information for you. Really, really brilliant technique. So I'm just going to go X, and it's going to take us out of there. Final thing to highlight is this. If you happen to have a recent iPad model with you, and if you're working on one of our recent generation Macs, you have a great option in system preferences called Sidecar. Sidecar is absolutely amazing. It's an awesome feature to give you even more working space on your Mac. You can add your iPad as a second display. So all you have to do is just make sure that your Mac and your iPad are on the same Wi-Fi, or you can do this over a cable as well by connecting the one to the other. And then your iPad can act as a secondary display for your Mac notebook. How incredible is this? You'll be able to move windows over from side to side. You'll be able to make sketches on the iPad that will make real-time changes to a document on your Mac. And you even have the ability to touch certain applications now that they're going to be on the iPad screen, giving you even more versatility as to how you tackle your day-to-day productivity tasks. So these are just some of the capabilities that are waiting for you inside of the world of Mac OS. Thanks for watching and have fun exploring all these amazing features.